Did a grandmother publish a review for a fake vest for an Antifa extremist, thus kind of doxing him? The answer is a maybe, probably not, but maybe. The story is hilarious. Many people are reporting it as though it's confirmed. I can't say it's confirmed, but there's at least some reason to believe it might actually be true, and maybe this one will just make you laugh, I suppose. Though, listen, I'm leaning towards this not being true. There is some reason to suggest this dude, okay, he's this Antifa guy who was seen throwing an explosive of some sort. He's trying to, like, white knight for the naked Athena lady. And now a review has been found from about 8 or 9 days ago, actually 9 days ago at this point, claiming the vest is great and it was bought by grandmother, who is, in fact, according to this website, a verified purchaser. So it could just be a clever hoax. Until I have harder confirmation, I'm just going to say it probably is, but it's a verified purchaser leaving a review claiming to be the grandmother of this man who is seen in video throwing explosives and white knighting for naked Athena. So let's start from the beginning. Okay. You know the story of naked Athena? Why, she is the woman in Portland who stripped all of her clothes off for no reason, sat down in the street and spread her legs for the police. And oh man, it was like ABC News. I think it was ABC. I can't remember which outlet. They were like, she emerged from the tear gas like some kind of naked Athena. Yes. Very weird, creepy, fine. She can do whatever she wants. But along comes this fella right here. You see him on the right. What he's doing in this photo is he's holding up a shield to protect naked Athena. And it's one of the cringiest things I've ever seen. Because she keeps trying to push him out of the way, clearly trying to do her photo op, but he keeps standing in front of her and pushing her back. It's like, dude, stop touching the lady. If she wants to walk around naked and do her photo shoot, let her do it. This guy cringes me out, for sure. But look at this photo on the left. There he is sitting on this sports car, I guess, a red vehicle of some sort. I don't know what it is. With a mask on, wearing the same vest and the same shirt. It looks like he either wears the same clothes or it was taken on the same day. In fact, that's why I think it may be a very, very clever hoax. There's a couple outlets that are reporting on this. I don't think it's confirmed. But anyway, you have this guy. He's the shield for naked Athena. Then you have another video that's been going around, actually a couple of videos showing different angles of this Antifa extremist lobbing something at the federal courthouse, followed by a big explosion. I'm very careful in the language I use. You don't actually see what he throws land and then watch it explode. So I think it's fair to say he threw an explosive, but I just want to make sure that's clear. In the video, he throws something. There's an explosion, probably from him. Maybe not, though. I don't know for sure. Let's read a little bit of this story, and I'll try and break this one down for you as to the veracity of this. I do want to point out as well, however, as we move forward, I'm definitely going to be debunking the story of the NYPD van. This whole segment's going to be about challenging the fake news narrative. Well, let's start here. An Antifa rioter in Portland who threw an explosive device at the Mark O. Hatfield Federal Courthouse has been identified in an online review of the vest he was wearing, presumably left by his grandmother. The post-millennial's Ian Miles Chong tweeted Tuesday night. Apparently, the guy who threw an explosive at the federal courthouse in Portland has been identified in a review of the vest his grandma bought for him to riot in. You couldn't make this up. There is a meme of this like punk rock looking dude with like mohawk spikes. And there's like a very nice mom fixing the red mask. And he's like, come on, mom, hurry up. I got to go fight fascism. That's the joke, that these people are children. They have never experienced the real world and they're LARPing essentially. This fits that trope perfectly, which is why I think people are so ready to believe it. They say the militant threw an explosive device at the courthouse on Monday night, which has been the site of ongoing rioting. The review of the protest vest was written on Hibbett, the site that sells the vest. It's called the Hudson Men's Icons Reflective Vest. I got this for my grandson, who's a protester downtown. He uses it every night and says it's done the job. Antifa grandma wrote under the product listing. Another review asked, does this vest come with immunity from a federal indictment? And another noted the vest is good for protesting, bad for anonymity. But it's just anonymous, so that's kind of unrelated. The same militant can also be seen in videos acting as a shield for a naked protester. Oh, geez. Yes, that's right. The naked Athena saga continues. So I have this video from Ian Miles Chong. Twitter doesn't want to play or whatever, but I can't show too much anyway. You do see the man. It's the same guy throws something. So here's what happens. This video is from July 28th. Ian Miles Chong tweets, Antifa is trying to kill the feds. People immediately started trying to identify who this guy was because he threw an explosive. What did they discover? Well, here's a tweet from Cat Turd with 3 crying, laughing faces. Breaking: Antifa terrorist who threw bomb at federal agents in Portland is identified by his grandmother. And there's the photo. He's wearing the vest. He's got a mask up. They were trying to identify him because he had thrown an explosive, not because he was the shield for naked Athena. And here's what we end up with. This is an archive of the website Hibbett that sells this fake bulletproof vest. I don't know, whatever. It's a reflective vest. You can't, I don't know, whatever. Who cares? You can see that it was archived on the 28th of July at 21:06 Universal Time. So on the 28th, they archived this. It would seem that on the 28th, as they were tracking down who this guy was, somebody found this photo of him. And I imagine they may have found it by a reverse image search. But here's the important detail. The review was posted 8 days ago. Interesting. 8 days before they actually archived the site. And it says, Grandma F, Oregon, with only 1 review. I got this for my grandson, who's a protester downtown. He uses it every night and says it does the job. Owned the product for less than 1 month. Uses the product daily. Incentivized review. Yes, I recommend this product. Interesting. I'll tell you why this is very interesting. It's a verified purchaser. Now, I got to be honest. The first time I heard this story, I called BS. I was like, no way, dude. Somebody was joking around. They saw the Naked Athena story. They saw this guy. They found a photo of him. They posted a fake review. Because I'll tell you what, 8 days ago, that was the day it was archived. This was archived on the 28th of July. 8 days before that was the 20th. You want to know what happened on the 20th? The story of Naked Athena. July 20th, naked Portland protester does yoga poses in front of cops. I'm not going to show you the photos. They're calling her Naked Athena. The woman who faced off with armed federal agents, sporting heavy-duty riot gear while she wore nothing but a face mask. The drama unfolded on the 50th consecutive night of Portland protests, riots, to be honest, where unidentified federal agents, not true, they're identified, have fired at protesters. Reports and video of unmarked snatch vans. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, here's the point. On that day of the 20th, this review emerged. It's a verified purchaser with an incentivized review. I have been told that an incentivized review means that if you review the product after you've purchased it, you can get a discount of some sort. So what are we seeing? Well, here's what I lean towards, to be honest. I still think it's probably just a hoax, but that would mean somebody saw this guy on the night of the news of Naked Athena, tracked him down and made the post and then walked away and said nothing. Or maybe nobody cared about the joke and didn't get any traction. Or it's actually Grandma who bought the vest less than a month and he was out using it. I really don't believe it, man. The Grandma account has 1 review, 0 votes. It's inactive, not really doing anything. And the verified purchase could be someone actually willing to spend, I don't know how much it costs. It says NA, but willing to spend feasibly about $100 or $60 to pass off this hoax. Unconfirmed, to say the least. Now, is it possible Grandma actually did this? It is. I just don't think it's likely, to be honest. It was the night of the guy seen on camera with Naked Athena. Somebody wanted to mock and belittle him because they were calling him a simp and a white knight and all these other things. And lo and behold, someone's pretending that Grandma bought the thing. I wouldn't be surprised if someone was willing to spend $60 to claim this guy was, Gammy's boy and he was out protesting. But hey, verified purchaser. So I don't know how else to, verify it, but let's lean towards unconfirmed for sure. Possible, but likely not true. I know. Many of you are probably having a good time laughing about the stupidity of this guy, but unfortunately, well, I can say only so much. Unconfirmed. I'll tell you what I can confirm, however. I can confirm that on the other side, as they're posting their stupid fake news, it is entirely fake news. Chris Hayes says, this is kidnapping. Kidnapping? Oh no, what happened? NYC is taking after Portland, says Michelle L. Hook. A trans femme protester was pulled into an unmarked van at the Abolition Park protest. This is at 2nd Avenue and 25th Street. Why, yes. We see it here. Quote, "It was like a kidnapping. A viral video shows NYPD officers forcing protester into unmarked van." How could this be happening? I can't believe that police have just started using plainclothes officers and unmarked vehicles. Could you imagine what life would have been like last year if police ever did something like this? Yeah, I know, you get the joke. They literally do it all the time. Probably since the inception of vehicles. And I gotta be honest, I'm willing to bet that like when they first invented cars, they didn't actually mark the cars or even have sirens on them. They just had people jump in the car and go use it. So yes, unmarked cars are a thing. Now, the far left is trying to claim that this is Portland, it's their, them snatching up people, and that whole stupid narrative. Propaganda. I'm going to break this down for you, but let me tell you what we're seeing in all of these instances. Look, everybody is fighting a propaganda war. I have found that typically when it comes to moderates and conservatives, which is now the bigger tent, you're more likely to get an honest breakdown, although many people have their biases. There are certainly conservative outlets that just give you their conservative biased view. But even then, it's still more likely to be closer to the truth. A really good example of all of this is what happened with Bill Barr the other day as he was giving this testimony. Bill Barr is basically shouted down by the Democrats who don't let him speak, and the Republicans let him speak. What that shows me is that the Democrats don't want anyone else to share information and explain their point of view, and the Republicans are more than happy to say, here's what I think, and then have Bill Barr say his piece. In fact, Bill Barr actually corrected the Republicans several times. So here's what I see. We got a couple stories. We got this Antifa Gammys boy, and I'm leaning toward it's just a hoax, man, to be honest. But I don't think the people sharing it are doing it because they want to mislead you. I think they're sharing it because it fits their bias and it makes them laugh. So they share it. This story, where we see activists claiming they're being kidnapped, acting surprised that unmarked vehicles exist. Chris Hayes like, it's a kidnapping. Chris Hayes knows unmarked police cars exist. Now he's lying to you for political gain. But it's all part of the information war. Because let's be real. If you can mock and ridicule Antifa and make them seem like losers, then people are going to be like, I don't want to be associated with these gammy boy losers. And if you can make the police seem like fascists, then people are going to be like, you have to join us in our fight against fascism. I posted something on Facebook where I said, oh no, I can't believe how bad it really is. I just found out police use unmarked vehicles and they've been doing it for decades and that plainclothes police officers arrest people. Oh no. And a bunch of the lefties on Q are like, I can't believe you're defending fascism, Tim. What happened to you? And I'm like, I'll tell you what happened, man. This person right here in this article was wanted on a warrant for smashing like 5 lights or like security cameras or something. They made an arrest. Arrests happened. In fact, this unmarked vehicle pulling up and arresting the person reduces the likelihood of violence. Okay, listen, the existence of law enforcement is not oppression. There are concerns and questions about violations of people's rights. I am 100% in favor of police reform. I have routinely slammed the police for enforcing unconstitutional edict like they did in New Jersey when they had arrested the small business owners. And I have specifically referred to the McCloskeys as bootlickers for apologizing to the, I shouldn't say apologizing, but defending the police who illegally seized their firearms. I say illegal because the AG has straight up said they had every right, this is the St. Louis couple, every right to defend themselves. So let's be real, man. When the cops show up and they're like, we know it's unconstitutional and you're within your rights under Castle Doctrine to defend your property. I'm taking your guns anyway. And they say, well, the police were very apologetic. I say, no, spare me your spineless drivel. That's bootlicking. When the cops come and willfully break the law, the cops are literally just arresting somebody for a warrant. That's not fascism. With law enforcement existing is not oppression. The law existing is not oppression. This is the narrative they're trying to play up. Don't defend them, you bootlicker. Oh, shut up. You're the one out cheering for the state. Okay, these same leftists are cheering for the state in St. Louis to falsely and maliciously prosecute 2 people who were at their home defending it from an angry mob. They had every reason to do it. They're saying, good, lock them up. They're crazy. That's bootlicking. The McCloskeys defending the police who illegally seized their firearms. That's bootlicking. And then you have the far left complaining that one of their comrades in Austin, holding his rifle, approached a vehicle and got shot several times. And they say that guy was a Nazi and a fascist for defending himself. Spare me. The left are the bootlickers. I have every problem in the world with police officers around the country enforcing unconstitutional law, locking down churches and businesses and arresting people and seizing people's property. That is unconstitutional. And I am not going to defend any one of these officers for doing it. But this, you're romping around the city, okay? You're literally committing crimes. They issue a warrant for the arrest of this person and you get arrested. That's reality. Take a look at this story. Now, the Washington Post, to be fair, does show the NYPD statement. They say, when an unmarked Kia minivan screeched to a stop near protesters marching in Manhattan on Tuesday evening, the demonstrators' surprise swiftly gave way to an alarm. Several New York Police Department officers wearing T-shirts and shorts spilled out of the van and grabbed one of the protesters, dragging the trans femme towards the vehicle, according to videos filmed by bystanders. I'm using trans femme specifically because that was the language of the protesters. I am trying to be as fair and balanced as possible. The protesters said a trans femme protester. So if the Washington Post wants to use other terminology, well, that's up to them. Videos of the chaotic scene, which bore a marked similarity to the controversial tactics used by officers in Portland, no, it doesn't, by the way, quickly went viral. Protesters who witnessed the incident described it as a kidnapping, while a number of New York's elected officials, including AOC, decried the officers' actions and demanded further explanations. Our civil liberties are on the brink. This is not a drill, she tweeted. These people are liars. They are straight up liars, okay? Let me just tell you. If the police serve a warrant, you can be arrested. Now, listen, I have a problem with two things the police do. I mean, not just two things, but two specific things I can call out in regard to this. Plainclothes officers, particularly plainclothes officers, engage in enacting no-knock warrants. Are you kidding me with that? That's insane. Could you imagine sitting in your house, someone kicks your door in and runs in, and they're in plain clothes with guns? What do you think is going to happen? And then there are people who defend themselves from this. And then it's like, oh, but you shot an officer or whatever. It's like, dude, you're wearing street clothes and you broke into my house. Yeah, I don't like no-knock warrants. And I don't like plainclothes officers in many circumstances. But there are reasons why they exist. They actually help keep you safe. I've personally been saved from a mugging by a plainclothes officer. So I can see why this may be alarming to some people. But they're serving a warrant. And they're doing this to avoid direct confrontation, and it worked, okay? Now, there are issues, I will add, with a van of plainclothes officers just jumping out and grabbing someone, because that's the issue with essentially a no-knock warrant. In this instance, the police jumped out and snatched the person. However, they were surrounded by actual NYPD wearing uniforms. Many of these people are very easily identified as police officers. However, I would argue, if you're going to be pulling up in a van to make an arrest, the cops should be in uniform. So I can criticize this, but come on, man. A kidnapping? Spare me, dude. Here's the statement from the NYPD. They say, in regard to a video on social media that took place at 2nd Avenue and 25th Street, a woman taken into custody in an unmarked van was wanted for damaging police cameras during 5 separate criminal incidents in and around City Hall Park. The arresting officers were assaulted with rocks and bottles. I want to stop there and say the activists have identified this person as a trans femme, not a woman. Okay, that's important. The NYPD, I think it may be incorrect. The NYPD says, when officers from the warrant squad took the trans femme into custody in a gray NYPD minivan this evening, they were assaulted with rocks and bottles. The warrant squad uses unmarked vehicles to effectively locate wanted suspects. When she was placed into the warrant squad's unmarked gray minivan, it was behind a cordon of NYPD bicycle cops in bright yellow and blue uniform shirts, there to help effect the arrest. That is true. 100% watch the video. Bicycle officers in vests and uniforms were surrounding this, so please spare me your narrative about kidnappings. Let me wrap all this up for you and explain to you why I'm doing these two stories. In the initial story about the grandma guy, we are engaging in information warfare. In my personal opinion, perhaps because I'm biased, fine. The reason these stories get put out and they're not confirmed, they do say, to be fair, presumably left by his grandmother. I think it would have been important for the post-millennial and many others to say that, it may actually have been a hoax if they did a little bit more digging. While wearing a vest grandma bought him for riding, they say it definitively. I believe they did this because it fits their bias. They believe many of these people are children whining and crying. I think that's fair to say too. And they thought it was hilarious. I have a higher standard than that. I'm not saying to be disrespectful. I want confirmation. I can't tell you this is true. Actually, I lean towards it being not true just because it's funny. The narrative about kidnappings, however, goes one step beyond. This is ... kidnapping, says Chris Hayes, to 60,000 retweets. This is manipulating the public into believing something absolutely insane, and the power of Chris Hayes and the influence of Chris Hayes is substantially greater than that of the 5,000 retweets that Cat Turd got saying this guy had his vest bought by grandma. Either way, I don't like fake news. Get your facts straight. I don't care if you're on the left, you're on the right, up, down, whatever. Get your facts straight, confirm it before posting it, fine. But I believe what the left is doing with the kidnapping narrative is, for one, rooted in their bias, similar to what the right is doing, but more harmful because it sows distrust in our law enforcement. If some lunatic throwing explosives is made fun of because grandma bought him a vest, so what? So make fun of the guy, fine, it may not be real, but it doesn't do anything to anybody. But if you want to destroy and damage our societal institutions like police, because of your political agenda or because you hate Trump, you are damaging our communities. You are causing crime to skyrocket when these police get, restrained due to the negative press. We got to call it out for what it is. That includes the grandma's boy dude and the far left. But I'll tell you this. I don't care if in the end people really do believe grandma's boy, got a vest from Gammy and she embarrassed him, because it doesn't really do anything. But if Chris Hayes gets 60,000 retweets, 10 million views, because the police surrounded a van as plainclothes cops in an unmarked van made an arrest on someone who they had a warrant for, they are lying to you and manipulating you to force you to hand over your vote, which is your voice, because they want power. Don't be a stooge for these people. Do your research. I'll leave it there. Next segment is coming up at timcast.net at 4 p.m., and I will see you all then.